This is the Uptick Newswire Stock Day podcast, sponsored by InvestorsHangout.com and Equities.com. Subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube to stay up to date on penny stock news and interviews, public information on OTC, pink sheets, and microcap stocks from around the world. With your host, Everett Jolly.
On today's show, I'm bringing back my returning guests. They were back on the show back in May of 2018. We're talking about Mexus Gold US. You can find them on the OTC markets under the ticker symbol MXSG. And with us today is the attorney investment banker, Mr. Stanley Berk. Stanley, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
You know, give my my listeners, and especially my new listeners, a little bit of about statement of who you guys are and where you guys are located.
Mexus Gold's main office is actually in Carson City, Nevada. Their mining properties are located in the Sonora province of Mexico, which is the northwest quadrant of the mainland part of Mexico, due south of Tucson and close to the major cities of Hermosillo and Guaymas, which is the port famous for Guaymas shrimp. They have about 40,000 acres there. They've been doing assays, which have been very positive on some of the sites. We came on board to get some money into the company to drill and do further assays at different levels. We're very excited about this play. We think it's one of the great pure gold plays we've ever seen. Mexico, the drilling costs are substantially much lower than the United States, and believe it or not, the relationship to American business is actually very good down there. So we're enthused. We want the drilling to get more voluminous, deeper, and we're in the process of starting that, and that's why I came on board. That's why Mr. Bogart came on board, and we're looking to add another investment banker to our team as both an investor and a financial, what you would call a guidance person to the founder, Paul Thompson, who's been a miner for 50-plus years. And, we're very excited about the opportunity.
Recently you put out a press release saying about promising assay results. You're doing a first phase drilling right now in Santa Elena mine. And so I was wondering if you could bring us up to speed on that. You guys plan on keeping that yourself, or are you going to sell that out to a bigger mining company? What's your thoughts?
We have no plans to sell any properties, do any licensing to any other mining companies. I mean, someone can always come along and wow you with an offer, but there's nothing on the table right now. And in fact, we're looking to acquire some additional mining property in Nevada, because the name of the company is MXUS, and the US is short for USA.
Right.
So we're looking to acquire some property now. As a little background, I got introduced to Mexus about 2 or 3 months, I think it's closer to 3 months ago, by Itronics, which is a local Reno, Nevada zero waste company. And they introduced me to the people at Mexus, which, I then fell in love with their opportunity. But one of the things we were talking about, and one of the things that Itronics brings to the table, is they can actually do zero waste mining. Basically, they take the waste from the mines, and with their patented technology, which is the only one of its kind in the world, they actually turn the mining tailings into fertilizer, which in turn turns into food. They've been able to do that even with toxic photographic waste, which is like some of the most toxic waste there is. It has zero waste come out, and they turn it into a combination of bullion and the components that make up a fertilizer product. So if you're talking about a classic e-commerce play, whatever you want to call it. It's a thing that we want to do. We want to make this mine after it's produced its ore. We want to turn it into a zero waste facility and have no effect on the ground. And that's the goal of Mr. Thompson. That's our goal too. So we're looking at it more than just a financial play, as a clean play also.
Mexico mining versus U.S. mining. Well, the low cost. Why such the low cost in Mexico versus U.S.?
Equipment is cheaper. Employees are cheaper. The building of the access to the sites, meaning dirt roads, much cheaper. The actual mining itself, meaning the breaking up of the materials and producing the ore, is substantially cheaper. But the minerals sell at the same spot price as would in the United States. So as a pure play, that makes much more sense to me. The drilling costs are less than half of what it would cost in the United States.
The first phase out there at Santa Elena, are you guys looking at silver, copper, gold? What elements you think's underneath there?
Mainly gold, but there is silver on other sites. There's copper. We think there might be more minerals, but I can't say for sure. But usually these properties produce, 5 or 6 different minerals, all of which, have value in the marketplace. But let's be totally frank, our main play is in the gold area. That's what we're doing. That's what we're looking for. That's what we think we have substantial resources of. And the other minerals are a great addition, but that's not our main focus.
The company that we're highlighting here today on Stock Day is MXS Gold US, ticker symbol MXSG. You can find them on the OTC market. You've been listening to attorney investment banker Stanley Berk. Stanley, let me ask you this. Zero waste drilling with Itronics technology, what exactly does that mean? Mines produce materials that are not actual ore or bullion. And the mining process sometimes produces, to get the minerals out, sometimes produces chemical waste. And those are called tailings. And what the Itronics does is, through their technology, they process these tailings with their patented technology and take out all the major components, 100%, the major one being arsenic, and which is toxic. You don't want that in your land, and that it takes it all out. So they're looking to leave the land as pristine, or actually more pristine than when the bullion was in the ground. So that's what we're looking at. Actually, Itronics initially got started with photographic waste, which, if you were to look it up, is the most toxic waste you can look at. They take out every chemical component in it and turn it into fertilizer, which produces food, which is an amazing play, as I said before. Absolutely.
So that's what we're looking at it. I know other mining companies are looking at it, and other companies that produce waste. And I can't get into what those companies are, but I expect there to be good news about Itronics in the near future.
As an attorney and an investment banker, your market cap's only $6.4 million. Your stock is a tad bit under 1 cent. What would you want my listeners to take away from this interview?
We think if you're a gold bug, a mineral bug, anyone who likes metals, this is probably the best, what we would call cheap, undervalued play in the gold market. I don't see anything like it after scanning multiple companies. And we think it's a great investment going forward. I mean, who said it? J. Paul Getty, the way to get rich is you either find oil or you don't, or you find gold or you don't. So we know we found gold.
Stanley, I want to thank you for coming on the show. It was a pleasure to have you on here. I wished MXS Gold nothing but continued success. Hopefully that either you or Paul will come back on the show here in 40 or 50 days and give us an update of what's going on. Anytime. Thank you for having us.
This program is entirely sponsored and produced by Uptick Newswire LLC, which is responsible for the content. The opinions and information provided on this program are those of the guests and those of the respective companies they represent, and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff or management of Uptick Newswire. Uptick Newswire encourages all listeners of this program to do their due diligence and research when determining investment strategies that will work for them, or to seek the assistance of an investment professional. The guests of this program may have paid for its distribution and are not directly affiliated with Uptick Newswire or this station.